Hi guys, just a quick video. A few of you asked on other videos, comments on other videos that I've done for repairing decks in terms of other decks, give you an idea what to do with them. So here's one that I've just got in the workshop. I just pulled it off the rack now to have a quick look at it. Pretty fairly standard TECHNICS model from the mid to late 90s, early 2000s, an RS-BX501. Single tape deck but auto reverse. It has the standard auto reverse mech that you're finding in a lot of TECHNICS decks of this era, like the RS-TR series. Pretty much any of them with a power loading use a variation of the mech. There's not much to them. So what we'll do is just have a quick look inside. As you can see, it's not looking brilliant. First impressions. That pinch roller's no good. That capstan's a bit tight, a bit seized, so could do with a drop of oil on it if it's not a belt. Because these are driven by belts and then everything else is done by two power motors. We'll put the tape in. Yeah, it's a bit tired. They sometimes do that, these decks, especially if they've not been used for a while. Not too sure on the history of this one. It's this one that's coming. As you can see, it's playing and then stopping. Might won't play at all. Good signs the mech's going up. Yeah, that pinch roll is definitely causing a problem. As you can see, it's not running true and it's causing a lot of iron flutter. I think that roller's pretty much the same on the way out as well, actually, looking at it. The heads seem to work as they should. These are a very simple head on these machines. It's just basically a head that rotates 180. Well, I do actually have one from one of my spares just to show you. As you can see, it's quite simple. So here we have an example of the heads that are found in these decks, along with a lot of the other decks like the RSTRs, etc. Very simple for what they are. When it's getting to focus, you basically got a head that spins around. This is a record and playback head on here because you've got the raised block there, and all you have is this little lever here that goes into the mech, and it just spins that round, but obviously does it quite quick. One thing you will probably already noticed on this, something that does fail, is if I just put this ribbon cable back where it should be on those two little pegs there, is the actual ribbon cable can fail on these, because as you imagine, it's doing that hundreds and thousands of times over its life. Even though the cables are quite robust, they do crack, and that can be a symptom when you have no playback. That's one of the many symptoms you get before you start looking at playback amps and circuits with failed resistors and caps, etc. Take a look at the ribbon cable. And another thing to check is the connectors, because they are disconnecting to a block, which then takes a wire to your PCB, and again that's something that can fail, just a bad connection there. So if you have no display whatsoever on playback on your VU meter, that's why. But as you can see, it's quite simple. Obviously for adjusting the playback, all it does is move that little metal tag there. We can see it. That little metal tag is up against the screw, and the screw, all it does is just push it slightly one way or the other for your azimuth for both sides. So very simple design, and something to look at if your deck's playing but you've got no audio whatsoever, no VU meters, etc. First thing, check that ribbon cable, especially there. Coming back to this deck, the heads seem fine. As you know, we do have audio when it's playing, as you can see, and you can hear that it's not right, and it sounds quite clear. So the heads sound like the alignment's pretty much good in the first place. What we need to do is just pop these two. What we need to do is pop these two capstans out and give it a general service, a general clean, check the belts. The only belts on this one are driving the two capstans, everything else is gear driven, and we should be good to go. Just give you an example of what they look like. This is from another deck, again a similar mech. The capstans are the same, the pinch rollers are the same. So what we'll do is just change these pinch rollers over. All they do is just pop out. The little brackets on the side, I do have one here from another deck just to give an example. They just clip out on the side, put a flat bladed screwdriver or a pair of tweezers and it'll just clip out. And again, you can then pop your old one off and pop your new one on. You've obviously seen me do this in another video on my channel, so it's fairly self-explanatory of what to do. Pinch rollers and the rubber are fairly easy to get hold of still. So again, quite a common fault on these decks. So we'll get those changed over and then see what difference it's made. So because these are broken, they'll just pop out quite easily. Then I'll stamp one out without taking the actual assembly. As you can see, this one's actually a lot worse than I thought. So we've got them out, but we'll give it, obviously there's a lot of little bits and pieces from the broken plastic, so we'll just give it a quick blast of air. That's better. I'll just pop these other ones in that I've got at the moment lying to hand. They're not new ones, but they work perfectly fine out of a deck. I have plenty of decks seen all the time for parts like these. Just double check there's no other faults before we go further and give quotes to the customer. So I'll just pop these in. Now the best thing to do with these is just to line them up and then push them into place. Once you've lined them up, that one's lined up. I'll pop that one in. Bit fiddly with just one hand. There we are, they're both pushed there in place. All we need to do now is just lock them in. Okay, probably see if I can do it without a way for you. You can't really. All you need to do is push pressure down on them and they'll clip in place. Like so. It's just a bit awkward to show you and do it at the same time. Here we go, they're both in place now. Switch the deck back on, pop the tape in. Don't want to play it too long for copyright issues, obviously. Let's get back in focus. So as you can see there, that's now working as it should. Everything else seems quite smooth on this deck, as it should be. As I say, everything's direct driven on these, apart from the capstan. You have between 2 and 3 motors, depending on the deck. One of them is an assist motor, which basically means it opens and closes and switches the drive between the cogs and rewind, fast wind, etc. And then you'll have 1 or 2 supplementary drives, which are for the capstan or an additional assist motor. So anyway, just thought I'd share that. You might find it useful. I know a few of you have asked and private messaged me about what to look for on other decks, so I just thought while I've got this one here, I'd show you. Hope you found that video useful. And as always, if you wouldn't mind liking and subscribing, see you soon.